Well, and I know we have talked through, as well as our meetings through email and on the phone, all week about, each student will be looked at individually, and I truly believe that is happening and will continue to happen. And most certainly, priority will be given to seniors to make sure that every I is dotted and every T is crossed. And, we need to look at who's in dual enrollment courses, of course, our government school students, our virtual Virginia courses, and look at all courses that they're taking. And seniors do have, as Ms. Snead-Johnson mentioned, more because they're looking at college applications and other aspects. But each student will be looked at. 8th graders, as she mentioned, are different because they're not all in a high school course, in a credit-bearing course that counts for graduation.
And we've also got to make sure our CTE students are receiving what they need as well, Dr. Furman. Correct?
Yes, and I did participate in that webinar today with the Region 6 administrators, and I did send out all the information to Mr. Cantrell and the CTE teachers, on what's happening in the state and what we need to teach as far as competencies to make sure that those students meet the standards. They will not be responsible for a credential test to get that credential in the CTE program with the sequential electives.
And we've also had many meetings on the special ed students, and we are working with our special ed staff and providing services like OT and PT and speech, as well as making sure they get access to the curriculum that they need. So there's been a lot of meetings with the special ed staff virtually and through emails and on the phone, webinars from the state level and the region that we live in. So we're working with those students and their IEPs as well. Tanya, did you?
Well, on another note?
Yes.
Yes. On another note, I would like us to keep in mind that when, even if it's late summer, I don't care when it is, when we are deemed well as a nation that we can be amongst each other again, that's when we should have proms and high school graduations and celebrate all that these kids have accomplished, not cancel them, just delay them.
Yes.
Because these kids need to be celebrated. This is a tough time.
It is.
And I hope that, we will think about doing that rather than calling it cancellation of these things, a delay.
That is part of the plan that the CHS staff is putting together. We can't give definite dates yet, but that is something that we feel is very important to celebrate those students and their accomplishments. So that is in the works as well.
Okay.
Good. Thank you for that.
Yeah. Okay. Then I just had one more question.
Okay.
This is just concerning like the studies for the kids. Have we considered some of the kids who don't have people to help them with their work?
Yes, we have, and we are doing a better job now. Dr. Furman, would you like to talk about the office hours and all those things we're going to try to set up in the next few weeks, or starting April 7th? What we're doing to have people accessible to our students.
Okay, are we talking about high school students or all students?
Well, start with high school first.
Okay, I know with the high school students, of course, we use the 21st Learning Platform that students, communicate daily with teachers. We have also allowed teachers to use Hangout and, of course, the Edgenuity platform as well. Now, I'm not sure how much individual phone calls, or how many individual phone calls they're doing or will be asked to do, but I know at the elementary, intermediate level, when the teachers come next week to work on their packets, they will be contacting all of their students. And I know we've talked about, what the requirement will be, whether it's weekly or how we will go about that. You said they're touching base with students. We also talked about if a student is not performing or not working, that student or parent would be called immediately.
And we've also not ruled out a summer school type program to help those students that maybe don't have access to a a set of family members who can provide, but we cannot set that date until we know when we're, over the virus type situation, but that has been discussed as well. And we've also talked about possibly at the beginning of next school year, either adjusting our calendar and starting somewhat different than we had proposed, but maybe for 2 weeks, if a fifth grader or all fifth graders who are moved to fifth grade, we might review the end of the fourth grade skills. So we've talked about all kinds of things to make sure that those gaps aren't there. And we know there's going to be possibly some gaps that are going to take some time, but we've already talked about how can we prevent as many gaps as we can in our students' learning. So there's some of the things that we've discussed. But again, we've got to wait.
An additional idea that we talked about and was also mentioned yesterday during the conference call with the Region 6 instructional leaders is next school year to have time built in, which the high school does this, has time built into the school day, and all students would go to a specific teacher, work on specific skills just to bridge that gap or to enhance perhaps what maybe we didn't touch on as long as we would normally this time of year. And that also, that time next year could be used if students are assessed when they go back to school. Not like an SOL test or just a type of assessment, kind of like a pre-test that was used from the end of this school year to see exactly where the students are. Did they master the algebra they needed to master to move forward in geometry? Just some examples. We're all thinking outside the box at this time.
Definitely. Okay, one more time, sorry.
No, go.
So have any of the parents been contacted in elementary since
Yes.
this 2 weeks period?
Yeah.
Okay, my concern was just knowing that, like, for example, Mrs. Preston has an after-school program that she does a lot of helping with homework and, skills and stuff like that. And I was just thinking for the kid who does not have that at home, what would their consequences be like if nothing's turned in or if something is like really late?
Well, right now, we're asking every family to turn in the first set of packets on April the 7th.
Okay.
And then the next time we do packets, we're dividing them into 3 different sections. Like after April 2nd, the parents might be said, do this amount of work between now and April 29th, turn in that packet. Then there's another 2 weeks period, we're giving 2 more weeks worth of work, turn it in, and the teachers will assess it. We hope that the teachers can reach out and take to the families that maybe are not reaching out. Then their last set of packet materials, high school and elementary and middle, is due May 19th. And that's when we will assess and see where we are with what people have done and haven't done. Now, until this is over, we can't have face-to-face meetings with our families, but we can do our best to reach out. And we may even have to have after school, next school year, after school remedial sessions. But we can't really do too much except what we can do with what we see that students turn in. Now, we mailed out every pack. Edgemont had only about 8 parents that did not pick up their packets. Those were mailed out. Jeter Watson had 4 families, and 1 family's coming in tomorrow to pick up their family. The response at CHS was outstanding, and every family that did not come by at CHS has been contacted and they've gotten their materials. And the high school, of course, can look and see what the students have done because they have the 21st century classroom. But the elementary school, we won't see until we ask them to turn in the next packet. So we're hoping for good response like we got when families picked up their packets. And we can't gauge what they've done because we haven't seen what they've done yet. Mr. Baker?
I don't know why I thought of this, but what do we do if, or what have you discussed it or thought about it, if a new family moves to the area and, maybe from Virginia, or another state, or who knows, but how we thinking about integrating them into and getting them material, or of course, this office will be open, so they'll be able to be contacted,
Right.
but just, I'm not asking you to answer that, I'm just
Well,
thought of that,
Yeah,
you know, just in case, because you never know.
no, you don't.
Because with people, the loss of employment and things
Right.
like that, they
Right.
tend to migrate wherever they can.
Right.
You know,
We have
so-
been told that we are to enroll any new student, that we still have to enroll them should they enter our community, and we will. And we will just try to do what we can about reaching out to them with some type of educational information. But as of today, we've had no new students enroll. We've heard of some families that may have to be doing something different because of exactly what you said. They need to find employment or be with other family members, and we know more of that's going to happen.
Definitely.
Yeah. And we will try to take care of all those
You could have
families.
people coming and people going in.
That's what I was
Yeah,
thinking.
yeah.
Okay, so when the families are contacted tomorrow, will you just make sure they know that the packet
Yes, we are.
needs to be returned?
Yes.
Because I know there's been several families have contacted me and asked, when do we need to
Yeah.
turn
And
this back
see, we
in?
did not, we were hoping we'd be back in school.
Yes.
But now we're not. We've developed this plan for how to get the work back to us.
So that brings another question. What happens in the event? Because we
A
thought
social
that,
distancing?
well, a child may not turn in work because they thought they were going to be back, because we were really looking at the 27th.
Right.
And because statements were made repeatedly that the work wasn't going to be graded.
And we're not going to grade that first
Right,
work.
and I understand that.
Yeah.
But how about there's no packet? At that point, what will you do?
We will reach out to that family and say, we need to see that from your student.
Okay.
How
And
can
you'd
we
have to
help?
get something on record from them.
Yes, we're
So
going to
you would
document.
just prepare another packet and give them to
Yeah,
at that time?
Right.
Okay.
right. We kept very good records. I have to applaud the principals for how they marked off. We have records of who picked up and how we delivered if they did not show up. And we'll do the same thing when they return the packets, who has returned, who hasn't. And there are some concerns about,
Oh, yeah.
you know, so
Yeah.
there are many concerns that we know we need to take care of.
But we don't have, I mean, everyone has those same concerns.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
So
Oh, yeah.
every school system, every district, every jurisdiction is, they are all feeling the same heartache, they are all facing the same problems.
And the
So,
guidelines are ever changing.
yes,
Yes.
day, almost daily.
Right,
So,
hourly, right.
Mhm.
yeah, we were just have to keep your head down and move
Keep
forward
going.
best we can. I
Yeah.
personally wish that we would have been on a 2-week,
Yeah.
2 weeks at a time
That sounds
instead
good.
of doing
Yeah.
that, because it may have been easier for us to keep some students engaged that way, you
Right,
know.
instead of-
You might even have students that they're not a really great student academically, but they needed school.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
They needed
I
to
see
be
a lot of
present.
So I
Yes.
really,
Like
that
that.
hope of
Yeah.
being able to
Yeah.
go back,
Yeah.
I mean, that's what my son's struggling with.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And he's a senior,
Definitely.
so
Yeah.
I've been praying
that's,
for
that's,
Yes.
It's a double
Parents.
So-
Yes. Senior,
situation.
senior.
Yeah.
I
Because
personally
the
wish we would have had that.
socialization.
Maybe just like we're delaying things,
Yeah.
you want to say delay or postpone.
Definitely.
You don't want to give that finite cancel.
Right.
That crushed a lot of people.
Mhm.
And it's my own personal opinion, I try to keep the politics out of it, but I just wish we had stayed on that 2 week, 2 weeks at a time, 2 weeks at a time. We're getting closer, let's see, so,
But-
well, we're gonna move forward, we're gonna succeed,